Now I know it's nowhere near Christmas yet, and normally in our house all talk of Christmas is banned until at least December. But November really is the right time to make your Christmas cake, and I'm going to tell you why. Packed with fruit and then fed with cherry brandy, this cake is going to be the most delicious Christmas cake ever. Now we start with a large pan, and to that we're going to add 175 grams or 3/4 of a cup of unsalted butter. Next in goes 210 grams or a packed cup of light brown muscovado sugar, then 400 grams or 2 2/3 of a cup of mixed dried fruit, 200 grams or a cup of glazed cherries that have been roughly chopped, 100 grams or a cup of dried cranberries, the zest and juice of 1 orange, the zest of 1 lemon, and about 120 ml or half a cup of cherry brandy. Heat on a medium heat until that comes to a gentle bubble, and then we're going to allow that to simmer for about 10 minutes, just stirring it occasionally. After that 10 minutes is up, we're going to take the pan off the heat and leave it to cool slightly, and then we'll preheat the oven to 150C or 300F. Now we want to line a 20cm cake tin with a removable base. So I've cut a couple of strips of baking parchment here, and that's going to line the sides of the tin. It needs to be higher than the sides of the tin, so about 1.5 to 2 inches higher than the sides, and that will help to protect the cake and stop it from burning in the oven. And then to line the base of the tin, we're going to cut out a circle. Take a large piece of baking parchment and fold it over once, then again, and finally for a third time. And then place the point of the parchment in the centre of the baking tin. And then we're going to cut following the line of the edge of the baking tin and unfold it. And that should give you a perfect circle. Line the sides of the baking tin first and then place the centre circle inside. We're going to add in 85 grams or half a cup of ground almonds and then give that a stir. Then add in 3 large eggs and stir together. And finally, we're going to add in the dry ingredients. We need 200 grams or a cup and 2/3 of plain all-purpose flour, half a teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of mixed spice, a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and 1/4 teaspoon of ground allspice. Spoon the mixture into the lined baking tin. That's going in the oven for 45 minutes, and then after 45 minutes we're going to turn the oven down to 140 degrees C or 275F and cook for a further hour to 1.5 hours until the top of the cake is a lovely dark golden brown and an inserted skewer comes out clean. If it looks like the top of the cake is starting to darken too much, you can just place some foil on top. Once cooked, we want to remove the cake from the oven and make 10 to 12 holes all over it with a skewer. Whilst it's still warm, we're going to spoon 4 tablespoons of cherry brandy on top. Leave the cake to cool in the tin, then remove from the tin and wrap in a double layer of baking parchment and then a layer of foil and place in an airtight container at room temperature. Feed the cake with 2 tablespoons of cherry brandy every week, right up until a few days before you want to marzipan and ice the cake. And that's why we make the cake in November, so you can give it a good few feedings for a deliciously moist cake with a rich flavour.